Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new static SMG here in Modern Warfare Zombies, and we're actually going to be taking it straight on into the Season 2 Elder Dark Aether. Got a bit of a new strategy and a new way that I've been doing this Dark Aether that helps me get it done way easier. And this has to do with one item in particular that I stopped using for a while just because it seemed like it was kind of nerfed into the ground, but it's really been helping me out in here. We're going to be doing this Elder Aether run today with absolutely zero cuts or jumps or anything, so you guys can see exactly how I do this strategy. With that, welcome on back to the channel, everybody. If y'all don't know, my name is Ghost. I appreciate everybody that stops by the video today. If you're into zombies content or anything Call of Duty, rock the hell out of that like button for me and subscribe to the channel, guys. We just ended up hitting our massive goal of 20,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you guys enough for all the crazy love and support. We are well on the road to 30K. Let's get it. I can't wait to get into everything about this run and this little SMG after a brief word from today's sponsor. If you guys want to unlock the new Mark of the Survivor camo, or possibly even any of those get higher camos here in Modern Warfare 3, and you really just don't have the time to put in to get these challenges done, well then be sure to check out Midge Cactus. They're the biggest and most reliable sellers with heaps of brand new offerings for MW3 with completely safe and legitimate services for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And with all the great reviews on Trustpilot, you guys should definitely check them out. Be sure to use code REALG for 5% off your entire order for a limited time only. Now, I'm sure that most of you guys know that during Season 3, the friendly Hellhound actually suffered a pretty significant nerf. These guys honestly used to be absolute little tanks. I mean, as long as you actually kind of took care of them and just made sure that they didn't take too much damage, they would really follow you throughout the entirety of the match. Unfortunately, after the nerf, these guys really only last like the entirety of one contract. Especially if you're using these guys inside of the Elder Dark Aethers, they really don't last too long. But that's where I'm gonna make some pretty good use out of the dog bone that I brought in today. Now, usually when we would come into the Season 2 Dark Aether, I would end up doing the HVT contract first, just because that one is right next to where you spawn in. But since we're bringing in the dog bone today, what we're gonna end up doing is actually doing the Outlast contract first, so that way our friendly Hellhound can actually act as a bit of a decoy for us in there. 9 times out of 10, if you grab the HVT contract first, and if you bring a friendly Hellhound in here, you're most likely just gonna end up wasting that Hellhound with the HVT, especially since 9 times out of 10, I don't know about you guys, but I usually always get the Mega Abomination whenever I come in here, and if you have a friendly Hellhound, and if you're trying to fight a Mega Abomination, those guys will just 100% of their focus will be on your friendly Hellhound until that Hellhound is dead. And also, while they're trying to, you know, bite your dog and stuff, they're really not beaming you, and you can't do a lot of damage to those mouths, so honestly it just makes fighting the HVT even more difficult. I would just highly recommend, if you guys are bringing in a friendly Hellhound, to get this Outlast contract done first, and do the Aether extractors, then do your HVT. And to my surprise, by the time I actually got to the HVT, my Hellhound was actually still alive. Yeah, I should actually start using these things again. It feels like they kind of maybe buff these things back up a little bit. Let's get into and talk about our brand new SMG that we just got here with the launch of Season 5. This thing is definitely a little monster. It kind of reminds me of, if you guys remember the L-Car from Black Ops 3, and then kind of like a mix between that and maybe like the Hurricane or something. It is a little bit of an interesting one because this is an SMG that you cannot actually put an extended mag on, but it does come with 50 rounds on it already, so after pack punching you're going to be sitting on 100 rounds before you have to reload, and with mega holding you're going to be sitting on 550 rounds, so definitely not too terrible there. I will fully admit to you guys, I was hoping for a little bit more out of this thing. I was hoping for it to be just a little bit more powerful. I mean, it kind of feels like, oh, that's the one I was trying to think of, the FJX. It does remind me slightly of the FJX just by the way that it shoots, and I was really hoping for that, you know, old power that we had when that thing first launched. This SMG doesn't feel completely underpowered. It just kind of feels like there is other guns in the game that are doing a little bit better than this thing. Was definitely struggling with some HVTs that I was testing it out on in the red tier zone, and then once I came inside of the Elder Dark Aether, it did handle this perfectly fine. I do really think it's going to be one of those preference guns unless they end up buffing this thing up a little bit. It's pretty comfortable to use. The handling's decent. The movement is really nice because it does kind of feel like a, you know, pistol SMG hybrid type thing. This gun really does have a lot of pros to it. I do just wish that the power was just a little bit more there. Aether extractors done right quick. Let me know down in the comments section if these have still been kind of buggy for you guys. Lately I've been getting pretty lucky with these things, but I swear every time I think that they've either fixed something in this game, I'll come in one other game and then it'll just be right back to what it was before. Do know that if you try to attempt to activate one of these things without a weapon in your hand, there is a nice possibility that you could end up getting stuck to the Aether extractors, which that's never fun. What's your guys' least favorite contract to complete inside of any of the Dark Aethers? I mean, mine would probably have to be the escort inside of Season 3. I absolutely hate doing that contract. I don't know what it is. I mean, even when I grab that special power that should be dropping like a bunch of those nuke power-ups and stuff, I mean, usually I only get like 2 nukes throughout the entire contract. Have you ever actually tried to do that contract solo, like without the VR11? It is damn damn near impossible. I've gotten the ACV all the way to the bridge like 3 times and it always explodes. Gotten the thing like right there, like maybe if I just get it on like a lucky run or something, I can actually get it done. Like I'm sure it's possible, I've seen other people do it. For me personally, I would even rather do the escort inside of the original OG Dark Aether with like mega abominations and everything chasing me. I find that one to be easier than the season 3 one, but maybe that's just me. I'm gonna go get our very last contract done, and this is where this thing actually ended up surprising me a little bit, because I thought this SMG was gonna be struggling with this HVT a little more than it did. Granted, we did set down a sentry gun to help us out just a little bit, and we ended up going down right at the end of the fight, but luckily my Hellhound was still there, and he had like literally just barely a sliver of health left, and he was able to pick me up. I did have a self-revive, but I want to save that thing. So what new schematic are you guys actually most excited for? I mean, for me personally, I'm most curious about that stash increase, just because I'm really curious about how they're actually going to end up making that work, and especially since the stash increase is actually tied to a schematic, that just leads so many questions for me, because since it's tied to a schematic, that kind of tells me that it's probably not permanent, that once we pop this schematic, it's probably going to be tied to the operator that actually used it, which then ends up leaving me some other questions about what happens if you end up switching operators, or if you kind of stuck, are you going to lose those items if you switch operators? Maybe it's just an increase for like a limited amount of time, like maybe it's 24 hours, 48 hours, something along those lines, which I think that would be kind of crazy. The other schematic that I'm actually really curious about too, that I think sounds really cool, is the Disciple Waddle. I mean, yes, like I said earlier in the video, we got the friendly Hellhound, but that guy was all honestly nerfed a lot, and then we got the friendly Merc, which I think is pretty cool, but sometimes he won't even pick you up when you really need him most. I've noticed if you're inside of a building, then the Merc won't pick you up, and then also if there's just too many zombies around him, he also will not pick you up. Hellhound absolutely does not give a shit. There could be 1,000 zombies around you, he will stop fighting those bitches and instantly just pick you up. So I don't know what the problem is with the Merc. I've actually bled out quite a few times with one of those guys just walking around, and I'm like, why did he not pick me up? The Grenade Bandolier, I mean, let's be honest, this is basically just restock from multiplayer and Warzone, but I do think that this will come in really big handy, like when it comes to doing Dark Ethers and stuff. Having those constant recharging decoys would just be so clutch. You know down in the comment section which one of the schematics you guys are most excited for. We are getting towards the end of the run here. I do gotta say, this SMG was pretty fun. I'm actually having a lot of fun with this thing lately. I've been using it a lot in multiplayer and Warzone. It does do fairly decent here in zombies, but I would say that there probably is a couple better options out there for you guys to pick. I mean, hell, even the STG that we ended up using yesterday, I think absolutely blows this thing out of the water. Again, thank you everybody for watching the video. It truly does mean the world to me. Toss up that loadout on the screen right here for anybody that wants to check it out. Appreciate all the love and support, everybody. I'll catch you guys in the next one.